Whether you're swimming or hiking, listen to interesting, forward-looking ideas from people I've interviewed over the past year. I'm your host, Effie Pilarinu, and today I've put together thoughts around data trust and why data is unlike oil, and the failures of artificial intelligence and its impact on the future of work. Enjoy.
So data trust serves the needs of companies right now that want to share data in order to be successful. But there's another use for data trust, which I think is also very exciting, going back to this big idea about how can we create income for people in the future where income will be indeterminate because of the future of work, right? And let me just spend 1 minute explaining this idea. Think of a smart city, for example, right? Think of sensors, IoT, 5G networks that collect data from, how people move in the streets, how cars are moving in the streets, pollution levels, noise levels, all that data. Now, who does that data belong to? I would argue this data belongs to the citizens of that city. That's where it belongs. Right?
The contributors of the data.
I would say so, yeah. So that's like a common resource, right? It's a great resource, and unlike oil, it never ends, right? It's an abundant resource. So if we had a way of putting all this data together from a smart city into a data trust that belonged to the citizens of that city and administered in the way I've described, then what we have a great win-win here. First of all, the value of that data will be used in order to fund the income of those citizens. And we're talking about billions of dollars, and I can put some figures if you like to understand, how important that is from a monetary point of view. But at the same time, you can open up, obviously, that data trust. You give access to the data to any company that wants to use that data. Okay, so you're creating both a new platform for innovation, right? You're leveling the field of innovation because, for instance, one of the big problems that startups have today is that, they come up with great ideas, but they can't scale up because they need data to scale up. So if you had the data trust like this, you could give access to the data to anybody. You don't have to be a big company or a big corporation. You could be a small, medium enterprise, not well capitalized, doesn't matter. Okay. So those are the sort of ideas that I think we need to start thinking about.
Number one, because a lot of AI is a lot of hype and there's just too much bloody promise. This is technology. It's not alchemy. It's not magic. It requires significant technology understanding, and there's a lot of innovation, a lot of ideation, a lot of proof points. Again, Ayasdi's messing around with this for 10 years. We got multiple things wrong. We're right moving forward, but it's still complex. So no, many of the promises that were made were absolute garbage. Now, the interesting thing is, well, what's the future? The future is we got to look at AI and define it properly. First of all, I believe that the white collar industry is going to go through exactly the same transformation as the blue collar industry did in the implementation of technology in the early 2000s. Well, why didn't the white collar industry do that in the past? Why didn't they do it at the same time? Well, they didn't do it at the same time because the white collar industry worked out how to reduce the cost of the unit or the individual. They offshored tons of business,
Correct.
Which is, the creation of Infosys and Tata and all of these other big firms. As we see frankly, the growth of nationalism, as we see the global economy beginning to contract to more national economies, as we begin to see that we've, certainly in the US, we've had a massive supply chain problem because of COVID, we're going to see a lot more work coming back onshore. And so how do you get cheap labor, but bring it onshore? Well, you don't drop people's salaries. What you do is you get a technology in place. And so RPA, natural language processing, those are really going to begin to pick up. And from a discovery and management perspective as well, we see a lot of real benefits moving forward with there. So it is economic maturation, as well as, frankly, a lot of people promising what they could do in AI and, frankly, just rebranding old product or old people and not being able to deliver. And it's created a bad taste in many people's mouths. And I have to acknowledge that they're right. So, but this technology is coming one way or another. We will see, unfortunately, a true transformation in the white collar industry, in the banking industry. And I believe the digitalization of the firms and the work from home culture that we're putting in place is going to uncover a lot of middle and back office inefficiencies that the banks are going to address very aggressively.